You made a very wise decision joining us in the trenches with Dave Lapham, brought to you by First Star Logistics, coming to you from our outstanding new studios, because we do get in the trenches. I love when you get in the trenches with players or coaches, and defensive line coach Marion Hobby knows of what he speaks. He was an all-conference player in his playing career. He won a national championship at Clemson in his collegiate coaching career. When he speaks, his players listen. He knows of what he speaks. He was a third-round draft pick coming out of college into the National Football League, played in the NFL. So he knows when he's talking technique, there's something, a reason, a big reason behind what he's talking about. And it's great, man. It's almost like a scouting report on every single player, or not every single, but close to every player in that defensive line that's going to be reporting to training camp. Talks about their strengths, talks about the expectations, what they can give them, the versatility of their play. A lot of good stuff with Marion Hobby. If you're a football aficionado, you're going to love it. Appreciate you taking the time to join us in the trenches with Dave Lapham, brought to you by First Star Logistics. As always, we're coming to you from our outstanding new studios. Moved into a new building. We got some new studios. Everything's cooking. We enjoy everything that First Star Logistics has done for us to make this as good as it possibly can be. And we've got a special guest today that's going to be really good. You made a good choice to join us. Defensive line coach Marion Hobby with the Cincinnati Bengals. Coach, welcome to the show, sir.
Hey, thank you, and I appreciate you having me. And congratulations on your new setup.
Yeah, it's nice, man. We got some nice digs here, no question about it. So you got some new players to work with. You've got obviously some veteran players that we'll get talking about. First, I want to brag on you a little bit. You were an outstanding football player, never mind outstanding football coach. I mean, you at University of Tennessee, your head coach is Johnny Majors, and you're all SEC. You get drafted in the third round in the National Football League, and you play with I think it was the Minnesota Vikings that drafted you in the third round, and you play with the Miami Dolphins. The Minnesota Vikings. What was the other team you played with, Coach?
The New England Patriots.
Patriots, right? Mm-hmm. So you play in the National Football League. You coach at the collegiate level. You're on a national championship coaching staff with Clemson, with a guy named Dabo Sweeney. I mean, you got a heck of a resume. Do you think your young players realize that they've got a guy as their football coach that played at such a successful level collegiately and then in the National Football League?
I think it's all about who's telling the story. You know, every time I tell the story, I probably get a little bit better than I really was. So that's probably the funnest part. But one thing about Google can't find you to find out what you really did. But I don't spend a lot of time with those guys talking much about me, and I'm definitely making sure that it's all about them. You know, I had my time, I enjoyed it. What a life experience that I had. It was a dream come true. So all those things, man, I hate to say how long ago they were, but I'm very proud of that. My playing time, my playing days, and I was fortunate enough to go right into coaching after a couple of years of graduating, and that was my passion, even before when I went to college.
Really?
So. And I had a chance to learn from some of the great ones, and the Johnny Majors and the David Cutcliffes, all the guys that I worked up on that's kind of matured me to this point.
That's amazing. I just think, as a young player, it'd be like, when Coach Hobby tells me something from a technique standpoint or gives me a suggestion or recommendation, man, it's coming from a really good place. I mean, I bet your players really do respect it. This dude knows what he's talking about, man. He's done it all. He's played. He's coached at high level in the college game and highest level in the National Football League. I mean, I bet you got great relationship with your player. I know your players love you, man. Every time I'm in the locker room talking with the defensive lineman, they can't say enough good things about Marion Hobby and how you treat them and how you coach them.
Well, I definitely will always want. I like to be a teacher, in that world, is teaching those guys what to do, and I definitely don't want to be known as a sound box. My coach Cutcliffe used to always say, "Them sound box, them guys was doing all the yelling and boy, raising a lot of sand, but they still hadn't communicated with their players well enough yet." So I try to make sure that that's not the situation. That I'm in a teaching mode, trying to get them in there, and motivating them. They still young men. They still can be molded. They still need mentors. So I have fun with them. I think too, Dave. Man, you're around these young guys as much, man. I know we steal from them as much as they steal from us as far as knowledge goes, but it's a joy. It really is a joy to work with the men that I have here at Cincinnati and been fortunate enough in my coaching career to have worked with in the past.
It takes me back to my rookie year, my early years in the NFL. I had an offensive line coach by the name of Bill Tiger Johnson, who was an all-pro center. His quarterback was Y.A. Tittle with the San Francisco 49ers. So it's like, man, whatever Tiger says, man, I'm all in. I'm all for it. And he was like you're describing the way you approach it. He was very even keel. He was very instructive. Never lost his composure. But when he did, man, it meant something. I mean, if Tiger, if he elevated, you better check yourself now, because you did something, you screwed something up big time if he elevated. And I agree with you. It's like if you got a coach that's yelling at your ear, I mean, you start tuning it out. It's like it's just like noise that you hear all the time. Man, a guy like you, a guy like Tiger, when you guys are going to make a point and elevate, your players are going to listen big time, man.
Yeah. Well, that's the deal. I always talk to them about, hey, I don't really get mad often, and one thing about football, and when you're dealing with other individuals, you better not stay mad long, because
Right.
it's the next play, it's the next situation, and on game day situations as well, man. You gotta be calm to keep them calm, to keep the game in perspective. The situational football is huge for them, and being able to communicate them and win in the tight spots. I do like to mess with them and get on them a little bit and practice a little bit just to see how they respond when the pressure's up. Because game day pressure, practice pressure is a little bit different. So if you're going to try to make the practice as close to the game, man, you have to add a little bit of pressure. And they respond. And I like I say, man, I have a good group of men that I work with every day. I've been working with most of them for 3 or 4 years. Got some young guys added into the group, but I'm very fortunate of the men I work with every day.
Okay, let's dive into that a little bit, Coach. Some of those young men that you're working with every day, and you lose a guy, unfortunately, in free agency, DJ Reader, who, I mean, you talk about a gem, not only an unbelievable run stuffer and underrated pass rusher. He pushed that pocket pretty well, man, as well as a lot of people for sure. He ends up going up to Detroit, and he huge locker room presence as well. Not only in your room, in the defensive line room, but overall, defensively and offensively. But you've got a lot of guys. It's not just one guy in your position group. You have a lot of guys cut from a good cloth of leadership, don't you?
Yeah, it's been fortunate. DJ, you mentioned him. He was a team captain, in the meeting room, and also Sam Hubbard is a team captain. You got 2 captains in the defensive line meeting room. That speaks heavy volume anyway.
Yep.
And trust me, the coaches didn't vote on it. It was voted on by the peers. And that's an honor in itself. Anytime your peers of other 53 men or more look at you as their leader, I think that is an accomplishment in itself. So I've been very fortunate in that. And then you add a couple of guys with the young guys who are team captains with their respective universities and come in here, and maybe they don't get the C on the chest right now. But I think I got some guys in there that really would love to have that C on their chest, and they carry themselves that way. So it's been awesome.
Yeah, I mean, looking at a couple of young guys that you're talking about, DJ Reader, leaves as a team captain, and in comes Kris Jenkins, a team captain at Michigan. I mean, we're talking, national champion. We're we're talking as good a programmer as there is in the country. And then also McKinley Jackson, a two-time captain
Yes.
at Texas A&M. I mean, these are the two interior defensive linemen that you took in the second round, and with the third round draft pick that you had. Talk about what you've added in terms of quality human being as well as football player, Coach.
Well, just being able to coach them a little bit these last couple of weeks. I tell everybody they're football kids. They're not meant kids, they're men, but it's just a term used that
Sure.
they're really locked in on football. They like it. As the season starts, I want to see if they love it. But right now they're learning. They want to learn. It's important to them. You can tell as a coach when you installing a play, whether the guy took a little time last night to look at it. They ain't looking at you with the mouth open like, what are you talking about? They're more or less of, Coach, I saw on one of the diagrams, I should be here, I should be here. What is that what we're doing? And I always tell them they always have a voice. I want them to have a voice. Hey man, I might not catch everything, but one of you guys might. But them guys being leaders, used to winning. You mentioned national champion, playing in the highest level, both of them,
Yep.
the SEC and the Big Ten,
Yep.
and and being leaders on their squad, man, and it shows. And we got another young guy in there, Cedric Johnson. You
Yeah.
know, same thing coming out of Ole Miss. Highly recommended, high character player. So and he shows it. And right now it's the learning phase, it's the work phase, and it's good.
I mean, looking at a guy like Jackson, you talk about a value pick. I mean, here's a kid that ran a 4.6 38-inch vertical jump. I mean, his physical attributes are pretty incredible, pretty amazing. Um, as far as you talk about the when you're doing the installation and all that sort of thing, these guys all seem to, when we talk to them, they've got personality, they got football IQ. I bet these guys, you don't have to pound it. They absorb pretty quickly. They understand what you're trying to install when you're going through this OTA process pretty quickly, don't they?
They do, and that's a credit to their defensive line coaches that coached them in the college ranks. Those guys did a great job with them men. I never tell them one coach is right or wrong. We might be just a little bit different, but the concepts, the fundamentals of it, of playing a position, I really think their college coaches really did a great job with them.
So tell us a little bit about the physical capabilities of Kris Jenkins. What do you like about him physically?
Well, he's a big man, and he can either. I think he's got that body type. He can be bigger or he can be smaller. He's kind of right there in that range. But he's got good quickness to him. He's a strong guy. He has good length in there, and we talked about his football IQ. He is. He's been impressive. I'm telling him right now, we don't dress 10 players. We don't have 12 like we have in college. We might dress 8. So you got to be multiple. You got to be able to play more than one position on the defensive line. You might be a big time nose guard, but boy, he might have to end up at the 5 if things don't go right. So just putting that in his head, he's played the 5 technique. He's played the 3 technique. He's played the G. He's rushed on third down. He has a lot in his toolbox
Right.
that you love. That versatility is one of the things that we definitely look for in our defensive line.
Yeah. So and that takes me right to McKinley Jackson. He's got that position versatility too. He's a 330-pound guy. You think of him as a big run stuffer and everything, but man, he can get small when he needs to and penetrate and disrupt. I mean, he's a guy that's got some versatility in his package too, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, and every day he's trying to prove to me that he's not just a nose guard. It's funny because I tell him, hey man, you're a big time nose guard coach. Like when he had to play any 3, coach. When we do pass rush drills, I can see the big man. Really overemphasizing. Hey, and he kind of peeking me out of the corner of his eye, saying, "Hey, I'm a." I'm a real guy,
Yeah, I hear you.
and that's good. That's good.
Cedric Johnson, he's got a high ceiling, and you mentioned Sam Hubbard. And how about Sam Hubbard playing through that injury he had last year? Man, that's a dog right there now. Phew. That's a guy that can. I, I'll take him to battle any day of the week, every day on Sunday. I can tell you that, man. And a guy like Cedric Johnson having Sam Hubbard, and I'll tell you what, man. Looking at Trey Hendrickson, you talk about a primo first step. It's elite, man. His first step's ridiculous. His first three steps are ridiculous, and the dude is in unbelievable shape. I mean, you got some edge now. You got some edge, guys.
Yeah, I like I say, I enjoy coaching him, Sam. Playing last year, man, on that foot.
Yeah.
I hated had to come down to that way for him and his sake. But I like to call him a monster. He said the monster. I say, monsters eat dogs. He's guys. He does the little things that the dirty work. Some people
Yeah.
don't want to do.
Yep.
Sam will do it. He doesn't. He's even keel. He's 7 years in the league, played a lot of football, but he still likes to please. And he likes to work. He wants to be coached. Man, all those little things, man. When you're dealing with veteran football players who still have a high ceiling, man, that is very important. And then you talk about Trey. His work habits are unbelievable too. He comes to every day. He comes to work. His competitive nature is crazy. We do get offs every day before practice, and I keep adding them young boys to him. Anybody want to challenge anybody, and keep putting the ends up there and the faster guys next to him, and he's keeping score. Did I
Oh, yeah.
win this one? Did I win that one? How many did I win? And as a coach this time of year, man, you're getting that from your starters, you're getting it from your Pro Bowl players. Man, you're talking about heading in the right direction. That is really good.
Talk about a guy that you signed in veteran free agency, Sheldon Rankins. What can you tell us about him, Coach?
Well, if you could look at his career, even from his New Orleans days into the days of the Jets and in team and being in Houston,
Yep.
and had a little history with Rankin when he was coming out of high school. I was at Clemson. He was down there in that Georgia area. I was down there. Hey, man, just kind of sneaking around a little bit. But he's been proven. He's showed that he can play different positions as well. Shows that he can rush the passer. He shows that he can play the run. He guy just shows up. I don't care if you're watching tape with him on it. When he wasn't a free agent. You
Right.
looking at you might be looking at the right end, but that thing at 98 kind of catches your eye every time. You just go, whoa, wait a minute, who is that? And I said, oh, that's the old Rankin. So we're pleased to have him bringing him to the group as well. You know, um, Man, fortunate. I think he's a good fit for us. He's another good person. He's another hard worker. Football is important to him, so those things are big.
What about Myles Murphy, Coach? I mean, I am a believer in a lot of cases that from year one to year two is a lot of times as big a jump in your career as you might experience because now you didn't know what you didn't know as you're transitioning, but now you do, and you start to really develop a little bit. Do you expect a big jump for Myles Murphy's second season?
Oh yes, I do, and it's important. He's another guy that football's important to him. Miles came in last year. You know, um, if he was in college, we'd call him a Johnny Five Star. Now he's in the pros. He's that first round pick,
Yeah.
and the pressure on him, the things don't do right. Now I got to show that I can do this, and you really just got to show that you can play within our system. You really just have to show that you can add value to what we already have. And sometimes we're in meetings because a lot of times I show them tape of themselves, and I can see him sometimes when it's not a good clip of him. I can see him kind of cringe a little bit, which is a good thing because
Yeah.
it's important to him.
Yeah.
It's not like whatever. next play, coach. I can kind of feel that. That was ugly.
Yeah.
And then him getting the reps, and now he's more comfortable in what he's asked to do. His with his assignments, um, the things the little things. But his abilities are very impressive now. I'm telling you, even as a coach, sometimes you catch him out of the corner of your eye, you go, "Whoa, man, that kid right there is a little bit different." You know, height, weight, speed, strong. He has a lot of intangible. But I've been really pleased on the way he's developed from this point last year to now.
Give us an update on a pros pro, BJ Hill, man. I love that guy.
Hey man, energy. I'd like to be. He's very consistent every day. He comes to work every day. BJ. I think BJ's bigger than what people really think he
Yep.
is. And they say BJ Hill. He's been sitting next to Rita for the last couple of years at 330. And BJ's a 315-pound man, probably closer to the 6'5" range. He's got good length to him. He's strong. Football is important to him. He BJ is he's gonna talk to you. Everybody in the building, everybody in that building knows BJ Hill. He comes in with noise, he leaves out with noise, and he works. The only time I ever see him really quiet is maybe right before the game starts. But after the first 2 minutes, he's wound up and he's ready to go. So just bringing that energy into the meeting room is important, and it's important that all of them. I tell them all, I want you to be yourself. I don't want to be working in an old boring meeting room with everybody sitting in here and with their hands in their lap and, be yourself. They give each other flack all the time. They're on each other, they're correcting each other. And you can see them, eyeballing each other. What are you doing? you know.
Yeah. Oh,
So
they're
it's,
close. They're close.
oh, they close. They
Yeah.
close. And it's funny, him and Trey sitting right next to each other in meeting rooms. And I think the only time that they really don't argue is probably when the film's on. As soon as it goes off, they're chirping at each other, and I sit behind them so I can see their heads moving. Film comes on, they stop, they pay attention to this, and then they go back at it. But they have that relationship. That's just gonna.
Yep.
And I sit back and I love it. I watch it and I say, okay,
Sure.
go for it.
No question, man. It's gonna make 1 + 1 = 3. A little synergy there. No question about it.
Yeah.
Give us a little update on a couple of other younger players. Cam Sample, Joseph Asai.
Man, let's just knock on wood for my man Asai right here.
Yeah.
I think in his time here, a healthy Joseph Asai is caught all of our eyes.
No doubt.
He just jumps out at you, and his motor runs all the time. Joseph is a guy in meeting rooms that's his motor runs. He's just that's just kind of who he is. He's not healthy. You can see him stronger. The last couple of years, he's come off of shoulder surgery, coming into camp. He's come off of this, and he stayed up here this offseason, and he's really worked at it. And you can see it in his body. You can see it in his movements. He looks like a guy that's been in the system for the last 3 years, and I'm looking for a big jump from him.
Hmm.
Cam Sample, he hey man, dependable. He's a guy. I remember when Sam did go out last year. Cam was rewarded the job, and hey man, he went third in line. If you want to replace Sam, you better be close in there first and second in line. And I saw him take that responsibility. Now I'm in that leadership role. I am in
Yeah.
in a situation where I'm going to affect the game even more. Unselfish player. Whatever you ask him to do, he's the defensive end that we ask to play every position, play non-technique. All right, now you got to play 5 technique. Okay, man, we got lost a defensive tackle. Now you got to go play goal line on defensive tackle on the goal line. He's been able to do it all, for us. And as a coach, hey man, that's a secure. That's a Swiss Army knife that you have in your pocket at all times, man. And he says the word. We laughed. We got a couple of clips of him last year where he was called in the game as a 3 technique in obvious run situations. Didn't Didn't hesitate, played the double team, played the. I was like, man, that's pretty good now. But
Yeah.
Cam, man, he's another leader going to his fourth year here. No guys never had a losing season.
Wow. How
They've
about
never
that?
had a losing season.
How about it?
And
And
so that's big now.
no
They've never
question.
had a losing season.
And finally, Coach, let's go back inside because I'm probably abusing the time that I told you we
It's
just.
okay. You
But
know us, hey, us old linemen and D
I'm
line, we get to
telling you,
talking,
man,
we can't stop.
yeah,
We gotta go.
once we get talking about the pits, man, here we go. We're in the
Here we go.
trenches.
The
We're in the
trenches. Let's
trenches.
go.
So Jay Tufele and Zach Carter, give us an update on those two guys.
Man, I tell you, they're working hard. Jay has come back. He's in much better shape than he's been. I can see that he's been working on his fundamentals. Jay is a fast twitch athlete. His motor runs and everything. I always been on just about the little things. Just the little things. He's strong, man. You definitely don't want to be his partner when he's demonstrating because he's an explosive man. He's heavy headed and he has really one speed. It's full. But I've been pleased with him and his assignments and getting everything done. He's played a lot of football around here too. So, I'm expecting big things for him. I don't think he's going to just lay down and let somebody come in here and just take his job. That is not going to happen, and it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
I'm going to have so much fun with this battle. It's going to be great. And then Zach, he's changed his body. After his rookie year, he had a decent rookie year. He had to fill in. Last year, thought he came back a little heavy than he should have been. And when you come back heavy, you got to drop that weight, and then you got to what's that comfortable weight. And next thing you know, you kind of hurt yourself because of that. But
Mhm.
he's played some good football around here too. He has the ability that we want. He has a length in there, and I'm just
Yep.
always on Zach to hey, just be more consistent because sometimes it's man, whoa man, that's it, and then hey, okay, just be more consistent. Start it, hey, stuck in that starting role at the end of the year when DJ was out,
Yep.
and got them tough reps. And I always tell him somebody's going to play it. It won't be me, So, and but he does good. He came back this year, after having a good off season. Coming back, I think he came back about 310. And that's a good weight for him. I could see it in his movements.
Mhm.
The system and stuff. He's never had a problem with learning what to do. Just putting all into effect. He's another guy I can't wait to see compete at the highest level. It's going to be interesting.
Coach, you got a heck of a room, man. High character, guys that, like you said, love and care about the game of football, give you effort. I mean, it's got to be a joy to coach them every day, because like you said, I mean, good coaches are outstanding teachers, and you're that. And man, the dynamic, the chemistry between your players and you and your players is unbelievable, man. It's great to see, and looking forward to big things from the boys up front and the defensive side of the football. Coach, it's going to be big, man.
Yeah, well, we know we want to keep that streak alive. We want to have 4 winning seasons.
Yep,
People want to get to the playoffs. Everybody wants to get to the Super Bowl, but you got to win first.
yep,
You got to
yep.
take care of them 17 games, and then you get into the playoffs. Then you get into the Super Bowl. But them guys are excited about it, and I'm excited. I think it's going to be fun, and competition brings out the best in all of us.
No doubt,
It
no
brings
doubt.
out the best in all of us. Adding those 3 guys into that room inside, hey man, everybody's going to work a little bit better.
Abs-
Everybody's going to work.
Absolutely, Coach. You do a hell of a job. Cincinnati Bengals are very fortunate to have you teaching the defensive lineman, and you're as good as there is in the business. Appreciate your time. Sorry, I probably ran a little bit long, but it was worth it, man. You're so good.
Well, Dave, I knew you were going to get me anyway. And when you said 20, I've been around you long enough to say he said 30, so he reached 25. So that's somewhere in between that we're going
That's
to
right.
get this done. But I have no problem with it, man. Just a chance to visit with you. It's an honor to have me on here to talk about these men and as they work, and I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Coach. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too as well. Hey, have a great weekend.
You too.
Okay.
Appreciate you.
Thank
I'm
you.
here, and every day I am grateful for my experience to have played professional football. As a player, I realized self-motivation, leadership, and appreciating your teammates are key. At First Star Logistics, you can use those same attributes to create the life you want for you and your family. Build your future by working hard like I did. You'll see results both on and off the field. Call First Star Logistics today and be part of our winning team.
Opportunity knocking.